I grew up in Makueni district in Kenya, and Makueni district, as I told the speakers earlier, is the end of the world, as we're told in Kenya. And just to put it in context, we are still waiting for electricity and running water. And we had the ring phones up till about 7 years ago, when you had to call the post office for them to give you the number that you need. And so that's really been much of the reality, the context I grew up. But there's one experience I think that really has helped me frame what I teach and the work I do with women in the rural areas in Kenya. And that was growing up. We grew up on a farm in Makueni district. And during the famine season, my father was a businessman, so he was a distributor for food. And so he would distribute food in our district. And so we would go help him. We were in high school and we would go help him. And it was probably one of the most hardest experience for us as children, just because we often couldn't understand why there was so little, yet you could see there were people who had so much also as well. I remember one experience, we gave out food all day, and then in the evening my father said to us, you know, put some packets of flour in the truck. We're going to take a trip somewhere. And we went around and we actually were distributing food to a lot of the people who couldn't access food, the elderly, the others. And that was a lesson for us, that we have to be sensitive to the needs of people around us. My mother used to help. We used to get people who would come to our farm and ask for work. And sometimes the women would come with their children. It was always women, and they would come with children on their backs. And I remember my mother would always tell us, make sure you feed them first, because oftentimes they haven't eaten anything. And so when they worked on the farm, part of what their pay, they won't get the money, they would get food to help. So that's driven the passion that I have. A lot of what I do, besides teaching in New York and the poorest county in New York, Allegheny, where we see a lot of the issues that the previous speaker highlighted, is I go back in the summers and we're working to train women to look at some of these issues. We're training them in microfinance with the idea that really, if we build social networks, if we build groups, and we're working with 21 groups in eastern Kenya, and the idea is that if we can build networks and safety nets amongst ourselves as women, we can address a lot of the food issues, a lot of the issues of infrastructure, a lot of the issues of technology that we often don't have, that can help address some of the challenges that our families are facing. So a lot of my time, especially during the summer, is doing research and helping women really come together, to put their resources together, to find ways to do agricultural projects, find ways to train them. A lot of what they've requested in the rural areas is training, education, just to be able to understand how microfinance programs connects to their health needs and the health needs of their families. So that's much of the work that I've been doing.